Picture two drivers making the exact same choice at a dealership. They both want a reliable $35,000 sedan. But when signing the paperwork, they take entirely different paths to get the keys. Our first driver buys the car with a typical 60-month loan, putting down $3,000, resulting in a monthly payment of $619. Our second driver leases that exact same model for 36 months, putting down $2,000 to drop their monthly payment to a much lighter $349. If you sit across from a dealer, they will heavily promote that second member. They frame the math around your monthly cash flow, which makes committing to a $619 purchase feel like a massive, immediate financial mistake. It forces a difficult question. Are you throwing away money by paying nearly double every month for a machine that is guaranteed to lose value? Or is the cheaper lease a hidden trap designed to keep you paying forever? This chart breaks down how financial decisions like these actually function. We are mapping short-term cash flow and long-term wealth against the monthly cost. Leasing drops perfectly into this quadrant. It prioritizes keeping your cash in your pocket today by minimizing the monthly cost. Buying sits over here. You accept a high upfront burden to eventually build long-term value. To see which approach actually wins, we have to look past the first payment. The true cost of a vehicle is determined by tracking exactly where your dollars end up over a 10-year horizon. This graph maps the cumulative dollars spent over 120 months. We'll track every dollar leaving their accounts. Starting with a $2,000 down payment, the leaser's $349 monthly fee creates a steady climb over their first 36-month contract. The buyer starts with a $3,000 down payment, and their heavier $619 monthly obligation pushes their total cost upward at a steeper angle. Let's freeze the data at year 3. This is exactly when the leaser finishes their first contract. The gap between them is massive. The leaser has spent roughly $14,500, while the buyer is out over $25,200. By choosing the lease, our first driver kept an extra $10,700 in their pocket. But that extra cash flow comes with a catch. After 36 months, the leaser owns absolutely 0% of the vehicle. To drive to work tomorrow, they have to hand back the keys and sign a brand new contract. The buyer absorbed a heavy hit to their liquidity, but those payments weren't vanishing. They acted as a forced savings mechanism, steadily building equity in an asset. Most financial comparisons stop right here, at month 36. Doing that creates the illusion that leasing is the cheaper option. We need to let the timeline play out. This graph picks up where we left off, running into year 6. The leaser signs their second contract, and eventually their third. Getting a new car resets the payment, pushing their total cost continuously upward. Now look at the buyer. After exactly 60 months of heavy payments, the loan is fully satisfied. The red line goes completely flat. By month 72, the leaser has sunk over $29,000 into monthly payments. They have a permanent financial liability attached to their name, and they still don't own a car. The buyer wakes up on the first of the month, checks their bank account, and sees that nothing was withdrawn. They own a vehicle worth roughly $14,000 outright, and they instantly reclaim $619 a month in personal cash flow. The buyer does take on risk here. They are now completely responsible for an aging machine that is no longer protected by a factory warranty. Cars are depreciating assets. They don't appreciate to make you wealthy. The financial advantage of buying comes strictly from the fact that one payment eventually dies, while the other lives forever. Let's expand this chart to see the final stretch through a full decade. We have to factor in the reality of long-term ownership, hitting the buyer with $12,000 in out-of-pocket maintenance and unexpected repair bills. Even with those harsh, jagged repair spikes, look at the leaser's total. By signing 4 separate contracts, their cumulative spend crosses $53,000, pulling far above the buyer's final number. The raw data shows exactly how this plays out over time. The heavy repair inputs of maintaining an older car still cost less than the compounding burden of a permanent mobility subscription. Pushing through the intense burden of a 60-month loan pays off. The return on that effort is long-term financial freedom. But a pure mathematical victory is only half the equation. Your lifestyle constraints and risk tolerance dictate what actually works best for you. For certain people, the mobility subscriber profile makes perfect sense. This includes business owners, drivers of luxury vehicles, and those who are heavily risk-averse. Business owners can often leverage the structure of a lease to write off the expense, optimizing their corporate accounting and lowering their overall tax burden. Drivers of high-performance luxury vehicles use leases to protect themselves. They willingly pay a premium to outsource the threat of a catastrophic out-of-warranty repair bill back to the dealership. For these specific profiles, leasing is a calculated luxury expense. They are paying a known premium to purchase absolute predictability. Then we have the wealth optimizer profile, built for those with a long-term focus, driven by net worth, and willing to absorb occasional maintenance risks. For the average driver trying to maximize their 10-year net worth, buying and holding is the undisputed victor. There is a massive blind spot in this strategy, though. The mathematical advantage of buying only works if you do something productive with the money you reclaim. If you finish your loan and immediately absorb that extra $619 a month into lifestyle inflation, eating out more or buying expensive clothes, the financial advantage entirely evaporates. This chart shows what happens if you redirect that $619 a month into investments for the final 5 years. It rapidly compounds into a substantial portfolio. True wealth isn't built by making one perfect choice on the day you visit the dealership. It is built by surviving the initial cost, capturing the reclaimed cash flow, and relentlessly compounding the difference over time.